Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News with me, James Dunn. On tonight's show, how small changes can make a big difference to your health. And we talk to the North East Lincolnshire Council portfolio holder for health on obesity in the borough. And finally, Tom Reed brings you the results of the weekend's sport. But first, here's Emma Lingard with the news headlines.
Hello, the headlines today. Able Marine Energy Park plans could be halted. Rise in the cost of living is seeing people turn to payday loans, and a Grimsby team start planning for the Thankful Tour. An objection has been made to the proposed Immingham Western deep water jetty by North Lincs Council. The quay, which would handle liquid bulk goods, would be built on land owned by ABP but earmarked for the Able Marine Energy Park. The authority feel the new jetty plans would stop the development of the park, which is set to create almost 10,000 jobs in the region.
ABP want to put a jetty right the way through the middle of what will be one of the biggest quays in the United Kingdom for constructing offshore marine wind turbines. So only one scheme could go ahead, and the Able Marine Energy Park will create more than 4,000 jobs directly on site and probably about 9,000 across the area, whereas the ABP scheme will only create a maximum of 50 jobs, so we would lose 3,950 jobs. In addition to that, the application which we received from ABP we believe was fundamentally flawed as well.
There's been a rise in our region with people turning to payday loans to pay their rent or mortgage. 1 in 4 people admitted to feeling too ashamed to ask for help, according to a survey for the charity Shelter. With increases in living costs and freezes on wages, the charity is urging people to seek help. Tony Gaskins from the Citizens Advice Bureau has seen an increase in rent arrears, especially since the introduction of the under-occupancy penalty known as the bedroom tax.
Certainly since April last year, when the bedroom tax came into effect, we've seen a sharp increase in people reporting problems with rent arrears. So that's social tenants or social landlords such as Shoreline and LH Homes in North East Lincolnshire, to the point where it's about 70% increase we've seen from in a year. And that certainly echoes Shoreline figures, where they're reporting an increase of 70% rent arrears caused by the bedroom tax.
People are being reminded about the dangers of chip pan fires after 4 people were hospitalised in Grimsby. The 4, including 2 children, were treated at the scene but taken to hospital. Humberside Fire and Rescue Service is urging people to take care while cooking and ensure their smoke alarms work properly. A team from Grimsby are making plans to set out on the Thankful Tour to raise funds for the Royal British Legion. It will coincide with the commemorations for the First World War, as the 50 thankful villagers were those whose men returned home. Chris Smith and his friends decided to do this as they wanted an adventure, but are looking for sponsorship to help them get the tour off the ground.
We are looking for a good corporate sponsor who could possibly help us out, just so that we've got money to help with advertising, getting round basically now, because we're having to take a support car for various reasons, and also somebody that might feel that they want to get involved with what we're doing and might want to sort of donate to the Legion, really. I mean, the costs that we're going to have are very minimal, but it would be nice that we can offer the cover that we're getting to a corporate company that might want, you know, to look good and get the sponsorship, be a sponsor.
Now, the first steps towards the regeneration of the Westcliff estate in Scunthorpe has begun. Representatives from North Lincolnshire Council and North Lincolnshire Homes have met to discuss the ambitious plans to transform the precinct. The plan includes new housing, retail units and community facilities. It's hoped through investment on the estate it will kickstart employment opportunities. An awards night gets underway today, organised by North Lincolnshire Homes to celebrate its national recognition for its commitment to tenant involvement. It's the second time the organisation has been accredited with the award. Inspectors from the Tenant Participation Advisory Service interviewed staff and tenants as part of the investigation into the service. Driving tests are set to return to Hull thanks to an agreement between the Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency and Hull City Council. Car and on-road motorcycle tests will be offered at Craven Park Training and Enterprise Centre. And people are being warned not to respond to bogus driving licence reminders being sent out to people by text and email. The DVLA said people wishing to renew car details should go through their website on gov.uk. And that's all from me. Until next time, goodbye.
Thanks, Emma. Now, are you one of the thousands of people trying to shed some of those Christmas pounds? If so, there's plenty of advice out there, and a new scheme is helping people in Hull make those small changes necessary. And you could do the same to give yourself a healthier future. Erica Barker went to find out more.
With New Year upon us, many of us are deciding to opt for a healthier lifestyle, to feel better and to shed those pounds. Smart Swaps is a campaign that aims to encourage people to make one easy swap to help cut sugar and fat from their everyday snacks, drinks and meals. People who sign up will receive a Smart Swapper pack with money off vouchers for healthier products at Aldi, Lidl, Asda and the cooperative stores. In Hull, around 37% of 10 to 11-year-olds are overweight, and Hull City Council's Director of Public Health, Julia Weldon, says something must be done.
We want to turn that around, because if we don't, what that means is those children and young people are going to grow up to adults who are overweight and obese, and that risks diabetes, heart disease and stroke, and reduces life expectancy. What we don't want to do is make things difficult. So it's not about going to different shops to the ones you'd normally go to. It's about choosing alternatives that are family favourites, that will still taste great and the children will still like, but will make a difference to health.
And it's hoped that by making simple swaps, it'll be one New Year's resolution that everyone can stick to. Erica Barker, Estuary TV.
Thank you, Erica. Help to make a change is ever more important as Britain is in the midst of an obesity crisis. So here with me today I have North East Lincolnshire Council's portfolio holder for health, Councillor Peter Wheatley, to talk about what local authorities can do to help tackle the problem. Welcome, Peter. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
So first of all, obesity is something that affects Britain increasingly, and I just wondered really, I mean, I've got some statistics here from NHS England that say in our county, 19.1% of children at the age of 11 are now obese. I mean, is this something that's becoming more and more of a problem?
I do believe that it's one of the largest problems that the 21st century is going to face with regard to obesity throughout the whole of the world. There's been reports just recently with regard to the way in which there's over 2 million people in Great Britain alone that would actually qualify for national health surgery to help them combat obesity, which is a lot of people. That would come out something in the region about 450 people in North East Lincolnshire alone that would be capable of going on to this NHS scheme. So it is a big problem, and I think it's actually got to get worse if we don't address the situation pretty soon.
And where I was just talking a moment ago about obesity in young people. I mean,
yes.
Is this something we need to tackle, and how do we do this?
I think that the figure you used was 19.1, which is about on the national average, but that doesn't mean to say that is good.
It's roughly 1 in 5, isn't it, really?
Is overweight. And especially with regard to the young children, what we've got to try and do is A, encourage them to be more aware of the diets that they have, and B, more aware of what physical activity can do to reduce the obesity rates throughout the 1 in 5 children that's at the moment recognised as being obese.
But there's been talk of this for quite some time. How do we actually do it? How do we educate these young people and show them what these things mean, what their diet, what exercise means to them?
Well, that is one of the areas in which, as Chairman of Health and Wellbeing Board, that I'm hopeful that we'll be able to tackle. Public health has now come back into the arena of the local government, which is good. It's
before
just arrived.
Centrally.
It was centrally before. It has now come back into the arena of local government, which is good because now we can look at addressing local problems with the amount of funding that was put there, and that is what we intend to try and do. And in the next budget round, we're looking towards increasing the amount of money that we're going to put into leisure services so that we can actually encourage people to go on to the treadmill, to go on to the different activities that are available throughout our leisure services. And actually, if we can get the doctors, because that's really where it is, their GPs who can write them a prescription to go to these places, and we can do something about it, because the budget now is going to be in there so that for the next year we'll be able to utilise the services that the council have got, and they're quite significant.
So if people do realise that they do have a problem, there's a problem with their weight, they need to change their lives, where can they go? Is there someone from the council that will help them?
We do have the facilities where they can go to the council if they just like to ring 313131. They will be able to be put through to some advisors who will enable them to get on with the advice they require.
What sort of services can they use?
Well, as I've said, they can use the leisure services for a start, but there are other services that we can give through education and advice with regard to the kind of things that are not so good for you. And I was reading a report with regard to fructose, which is in some of these drinks for children, which have got so much fructose in them that if they have too much, it creates fat in their own bodies.
Do you think people often aren't aware of maybe what's in things?
I don't think they are aware of some of the things that are actually creating this obese
is it a case
problem.
of we need people to look at the packaging more, or does it need to be flagged more?
I think that the packaging has got to become a recognisable one-size-fits-all. We've got different packaging and different instructions on some of the...
So it should be a lot
So
clearer.
I think it should be clear, and I think it should be standardised. All this red, green and amber on one, and the other it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
And all this is wrong. Well, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it could be made more clear.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that today, Peter. Now from obesity, we're now going on to the weekend sport. Here's Tom Reed with the results from Saturday and Sunday last week.
Thanks, James. Grimsby drew 2-2 with Gateshead in the Skrill Premier, with Paul Bignot's header equalising, having fallen behind 2-1 after Clayton MacDonald gave the Mariners the lead. In the Conference North, North Ferriby drew 4-4 against Histon at Church Road, with Lewis Taft scoring an 82nd minute equaliser for the visitors. Former Mariner Ryan Bennett scored the only goal for Norwich against Hull, who had Tom Huddleston sent off for 2 bookings. Scunthorpe are 2 points clear of Rochdale and Burton after their 0-0 draw against Wimbledon in League 2. In the Evo Stick Northern Premier, Brigg Town needed a last-minute penalty from Elliot Broughton as they won 2-1 against Sheffield FC. Elsewhere, Daniel King Bishingu scored a consolation goal for Goole as they lost 5-1 against Belper Town. Tool Station Northern Counties East League Division 1. Cleethorpes Town lost 2-1 to Knaresborough Town in the Tool Station Northern Counties East League Division 1. Louis Grant's 52nd minute strike gave Cleethorpes the lead, but unfortunately Knaresborough hit back with goals from Colin Heath and Dave Thomas. Meanwhile, Louth's winless run continues as they lost 2-1 away to Hemsworth Miners, with Callum Hyland getting the White Wolves' goal. Lincoln Moorlands Railway lost 8-1 to Tadcaster Albion in the Northern Counties East League Premier Division, despite equalising in the 42nd minute. In ice hockey, Hull Stingrays beat Dundee Stars 4-2, setting a new club record of 6 victories in a row. In rugby union, Grimsby lost 17-27 to Southwell in the Midlands 3 East North League. Cleethorpes registered a convincing 24-0 win at home, but Market Raisin and Louth left Northampton empty-handed after losing 24-13. In lacrosse, Hull for the second week in a row lost by a single goal margin, this time at home to Liverpool. Lincoln remained without a win, but drew another high-scoring game, on this occasion 10-10 away to Ashton. That's all from me.
Thanks, Tom. Now, don't forget, if you know of any local stories or issues, you can get in touch by phone on Grimsby 315561, on Facebook or Twitter at Estuary TV, or email us on news@estuary.tv. That's it from us tonight. We'll see you next time.